It's time to break down some football.
We got to get our mind right. Touchdown, win.
From the perspective of guys who played in the NFL.
Caught, touchdown!
And a guy who had one really great sack in high school.
Oh, you're so weak. You're a waste of my time.
Greg Camarillo and Marcus McNeil are the pros, and Skraby is the Joe.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Two Pros and a Joe starts right now.
This is going to be awesome because we are back at it. I have missed my guys, Greg Camarillo and Marcus McNeil. This is Two Pros and a Joe. Let's get all the stuff out of the way real quick. Go hit us up on Twitter at Two Pros and a Joe. Go hit us up on Instagram, same thing, and email us if you have any questions. If you want to know anything from you want any opinions from the guys, Two Pros and a Joe at gmail.com. And today we have a very special guest, and we are very excited about this. Greg Camarillo set this up, so I am going to stop talking, which is hard for me to do, and hand it over to Greg to introduce our special guest for today.
All right, a man I love as a human being, but I also love speaking to because of his story and the lessons from his story. We've got Davone Bess, former NFL wide receiver, former teammate of mine with the Miami Dolphins. Davone, thank you for joining us on Two Pros and a Joe.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me, man. Looking forward to the conversation.
So a point of discussion lately between us as football players, between us on this Two Pros and a Joe has been the transition for athletes from being an NFL player to life after being an NFL player and all the hurdles that one goes through with that. One reason I love talking with Davone Bess is because of how many hurdles he's overcome in his journey. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about his journey, but that's going to be the small part of it. If you want to know more about it, then Google him. There's lots to learn. But we're going to talk about his journey just to give a little bit of background. But we really want to find out the lessons he's learned from that, the reflection. This is a man who has spent a lot of time learning, reflecting, and growing from his journey. So, Davone, this your post on Instagram, Davone Bess 15 from today. My strength did not come from lifting weights. My strength came from lifting myself up every time I was knocked down. And you've been on a journey where you've been knocked down and you've lifted yourself up. So let's take our listeners on that path. Tell me, let's go background, hometown, growing up, all the way to high school. Just a brief scenario of what your early life was like.
Sounds good. So I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I've told my story a million times, so I'll just be real quick and kind of a watered down version. So I grew up in Oakland, California, single parent household, just me, my mom, and my brother for the most part. Went to Skyline High School in Oakland, excelled there on the football field, didn't really do too good there academically my first couple of years. And then I met my coach, Coach John Beam, who eventually started introducing me to college coaches. And that was kind of an eye-opening thing for me, in Oakland, it's either you selling drugs or, you been in the streets and trying to make a quick dollar here and there, you know what I'm saying? So college was never crossed my mind. So when he did that, it opened my eyes up, and I just, something clicked mentally, and then I got my grades together, excelled on the football field, and I ended up getting a scholarship, worked really hard, ended up getting a scholarship. Just to rewind a little bit, I went from wide receiver to quarterback my senior year, because coach called me into his office and basically said, man, we don't have a quarterback. You one of the best athletes on the team. You do this for me, I'll get you to college. So I was all in, it didn't matter to me. His get me to college, and I was all in. So he came through with his promise. He got me a scholarship. I want to say I graduated in 2003, June 13th, I believe, 2003. And the very next month, I ended up, going out helping some friends who was, doing some stuff that they shouldn't have been doing. I picked them up and we loaded a bunch of, stolen goods in the car I was driving. So we got pulled over. Next thing you know, I was being detained. They ended up charging me with 8 8 counts of residential burglary, few counts of possession of stolen property. I was 17 at the time. I spent 3 months in juvenile hall. I turned 18, then they sent me to county jail. So I was in county jail for about a month or two, when I turned 18, while I was still going through sentencing or whatever. So they ended up sentencing me to a year at a boys ranch, and I thank God for that every day, because I was looking at with my charges. If I was an adult, I would have been doing a lot of time. But as a juvenile, my max was 15 years, 8 months, So for them to give me a year, I was like, okay, I'll take that. It's a blessing. I'm gonna run with it, and try to make the most of this, this journey. So long story short, I ended up getting to the ranch. I had to do a year, I got a journal. I was writing in it every day, just kind of mapping out what did I want to do when I got out, what kind of lessons that I learned up until that point, just to constantly remind me from a mental and psychological standpoint, just try to do better for myself, and just have a plan of action for when I do get out. So that plan actually worked. Coach Beam, he ended up helping me make that transition. Not only Coach Beam, a guy by the name of Amin Denny, Don Burgess. It's a few guys that played a crucial role into my transition from jail to Hawaii. So,
and Coach Beam is the star of Last Chance U's on Netflix with Laney College. So we all got a chance to actually see and know Coach Beam and see the impact he's having on the youth.
Mm-hmm. And that's just a small piece of what and who he is. He's been doing what you guys seen on Netflix for 20, 25, 30 years, getting kids to college, from the inner city. I'm talking about at least 10 scholarships per year to Division I schools. He's been doing that for a long time, so he has his proven. So anyways, I ended up getting to Hawaii.
Can I pause right there and ask you about that? So clearly that was a monster hurdle right away, which we've seen and heard stories of countless high school athletes have a problem like that, and you never hear from them again. The life goes down the wrong way and never straightens up. Talk to me about that journal, or what was your takeaway? What brought you back? What was this inner strength, the lesson, the reflection from the time you had at boys camp? I'm assuming you had a lot of time to think about your life situation. Give us the lessons you learned from that situation.
Well, for me, I think the biggest thing, it was, I just felt like I let a lot of people down, not only myself, but like my family. I had a lot of family really depending on me, to be that one, and make it out, and it sucked, man. It sucked. I would say the takeaway from that was just not taking things for granted and not putting yourself in situations when you have a lot going for yourself. I learned that the hard way. I think looking back, it was one of the biggest mistakes I made in my life, but it actually was one of the biggest blessings of my life, because I much from it. I grew so much from it. The experience is priceless. I met a lot of good people through that situation that I still talk to this day, man. So it was tough, but I think it was worth the experience.
Plus, if you'd have gone to Oregon State right away, you would have had to play me and my Stanford guys, and you didn't want that, man. You didn't want that at all.
Hey.
We always know that Greg is going to rep Stanford at some point.
Hey, they didn't want these problems, man. Trust me.
Can I tell a side story, man? So Stanford's always known for being the private school sissy guys and all that. When we go play Oregon State, I think it might have been my senior year, literally on the scouting report for one of the DBs he was previously convicted of accessory to murder. And our coach was like, it was literally on the game plan. Our coach was like, be careful what you say to that guy right there. And I was like, oh, shit. It was a
crazy.
similar situation. Just he was with people who were fucking around, and then it derailed his life. But fortunately, I don't remember who it was, but fortunately he got it back together. But anyway, enough of me being a scared wide receiver. Davone, back to you. So you got it together. You go to Hawaii. You freaking light up college scoreboards. You have one of the most prolific offenses ever. You come out. You plan to get drafted. Take me through draft day or days.
Woo. Man, wow. Draft day was pretty tough. I ended up coming out as a junior, as everybody know. I was talking to my agent, and he basically said, "Man, you're healthy. You got the numbers, you got the production. Only thing you can really risk is getting hurt. Coming back in a year." And then I had to run a good 40 time, and everybody, will be all over me, because according to my draft prospectus or whatever, I was, a hot commodity. I was a smaller guy, shorter. I was quick. I can catch the ball. I can separate. I had everything, but everybody just wanted to know about the 40 and the speed, So I got to the combine and I just shit the bed, bro. All technique went out the window. I think it was just a lot of pressure,
Yeah.
I just shit the bed, bro. So I ended up running a 4.6 at the combine, man. And my agent was like, don't worry about it. We'll see what happens, Initially, I had got a second round grade by coming out early, so I was like, okay, cool. So did bad then. Draft day, I'm at my house with my mom, my brother. We just chilling, and I told myself I didn't want to watch the draft. I would just wait for a phone call, but I ended up inching my way to the TV, and watched it or whatever. So I got a few phone calls throughout the draft. I remember particularly I got a phone call from the Falcons in the third round, and I thought that was the phone call. It was the receivers coach, Rubisky, I believe, and yeah, Rubisky. So he was like, "Yeah, man, we like you a lot, man. Just hold tight. I don't know what we're gonna do, man." And I was like, "All right, man, whatever." So bam, next thing you know, the sixth round come around. And I'm like, dang, man, ain't nobody calling, ain't nobody saying nothing. And then I want to say midway through the seventh round, my phone just lights up. I'm like, hold on, what's going on? Like, so they, teams are already getting ready for, for their free agents. They still, the draft is almost over. So now they're trying to make their phone calls, to see who's available for free agency. So the Dolphins was my number one pick because that year, if you look back, they didn't draft any receivers that year, and number one, number two, it was a new coaching staff, so they was looking for guys just to come in and compete and try to make the team, and then, it wasn't a bad idea to go from Hawaii to Miami anyway.
And they also told you there's another 4.6 receiver already in Miami that's doing all right. So they're good with the slower guy.
Yeah, they didn't tell me all that, but anyway.
Hey, can I give you do you know who the Atlanta Falcons drafted instead of you?
Yes.
Harry Douglas.
Yes, exactly.
Who ended up with 50 less career receptions than you. It worked.
Yep.
Wow.
It worked out for you, man.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yep. So I signed with the Dolphins, and next thing you know, I was headed to rookie camp, man.
Nah, that's just a dope story, bro. You know what I'm saying? Just coming from where you're from, and just the background story, bro. Like I'm from Decatur, Georgia, so now I'm not gonna claim, that I had two parents growing up. I had a great household, great community around me, but it was a lot of stuff to get into. It was just flat out, just a lot of stuff to get into, So for you to prevail and come back from that type of stuff and be in a situation like that, bro, like it's so many times where, you know what I'm saying, like, you doing stuff that you shouldn't be doing. I know I shouldn't be riding around with these guys, but you know what? They like family to me. They my brothers, you know what I'm saying?
Cousins.
Yeah, so man, big ups to that, man. You know what I'm saying? And then putting that chip on your shoulder too when you get there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because I slid in the draft too. You know what I mean? Like I remember coming out thinking that I was gonna be, first round pick and everything. So, when I got to watching that draft, it kind of like left me in a state of depression a little bit because it's like, hold on, bro. Like I know I could play better than them. You know what I'm saying? I know I'm better than these people they picking, but that my number hadn't got called yet. So you know what I'm saying? Like that was a hurdle to get over in the first place. But me and you especially put that chip on your shoulder, like, you know what? I just show it to you. I'm gonna show it to you.
Yep. That's facts, bro. That's real, man. I appreciate that, bro. Like when I, to tally off what you just said about having that chip on your shoulder, when I got to Miami, they gave me number 15. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, what the hell are they doing giving me number 15? I need an 80s number, right?
Yeah,
Receiver.
yeah. I need that.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make this rock. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna work with it and I'm gonna show them. And I stuck with that 1-5, man. And every time I saw that jersey hanging up, in my locker for practice, for games, I saw that 1-5. That gave me more motivation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, straight up.
That is awesome. I wanted to talk about the draft and with your background going to the ranch and all that would be something that would be very devastating to a lot of people, and that would make it difficult on a lot of people to get back to it. But like, since we're talking mental health and we're talking about how we get ourselves ready for these different parts of life that are going to be tough. When you were being passed over in the draft, how did you handle that mentally? Because I know for myself, I would be very jealous and I would be angry and I would have many emotions and I probably wouldn't handle it very well. But for you, how did you handle that? How did you make it through those couple days without going crazy, I guess? And maybe you did go crazy. Who knows?
Yeah. Great question, man, because I want to say, I had a great career at Hawaii. My agent said, you come out early, you at least going third round. You're going to go third round. So my hopes was high. And just to take y'all back a little bit before that, I didn't start thinking about the NFL until after my freshman year. I had no idea. I had no dreams of going to the NFL, until after my freshman year in college. So everything started hitting me real fast. A lot of stuff just started happening real fast. And for me, not getting drafted was kind of my reality check. So I took it as a lesson. I didn't go in a tank. I didn't get depressed about it. It just added fuel to my fire. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, okay, you did all that at Hawaii, so now you got to prove yourself again. It was a familiar situation that I was facing, so I was ready to work. Like when I first got to Hawaii, it was kind of the same situation like when I first got to Miami. The 2004 team was all seniors, so 05 was my freshman year. 05 was a clean slate, new quarterback, new receivers, new team. So. And I grinded, I got a couple of, best friends that I still talk to this day that's on that team. And we still talk about it to this day. Like, man, we was grinding, man. We was really grinding, bro. And, so I think by me not getting drafted, I was already prepared mentally, to hop that hurdle. You know what I'm saying?
So Davone, you hit the ground running in Miami. You immediately make an impact. Tied, I think, Wayne Corbett's record of most catches by an undrafted receiver in NFL history. So clearly you should have been drafted. You were talented enough to be out there making an impact. Career takes off. You're doing well. Even catch a little payday, I believe, in the mix. And in that final career, go ahead.
I know. I said that was good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We celebrate that. Yeah. That's the opposite. That's a nice hurdle that you got to jump over right here. That's cushion for when you do jump over a hurdle.
It's a lot that comes with that. You feel me?
So then, towards the end of your career, things start hitting you, and I don't want to go through every different aspect, but can give us kind of a brief summary of the final year or two of your career and what's hitting you from every different angle.
Okay. That's a great question, man. I mean, it's just so much. It's just hard to really, kind of navigate through and get everything out. But to be short and sweet with it.
I mean, give us as much as you want.
Yeah, man, go for it.
Okay. So I want to say, in a nutshell, it was just build up, it was a lot of build up, and I had gone through a lot, and like I told you a little bit ago, everything in my life, from me, like my senior year in high school, all the way up until when I start having my mental health issues, was happening like that really fast. You know what I'm saying? So it was like I never really had a chance to process and heal from my past mistakes and my past experiences and my situations that I went through. I graduated from high school, which is something, that really don't happen often, in my city.
Yeah.
Ended up going to jail, got out, went straight to Hawaii, killed it there, went straight to the NFL. From the NFL, I started doing my thing, got a nice little contract, and everything just happened so fast. You know what I'm saying? Like I go by this saying, even to this day, I look at it almost every day and I say, man, stop and smell the roses. You know what I mean? Stop and appreciate life. You know what I'm saying? And appreciate the lessons. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate what's gotten you this far. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And I just had a lot going on, and you guys can probably attest to this as well. When you're doing good and you're in the limelight, everybody want a piece of you, and I'm from a city where, everybody, it's all about being tough. You know what I'm saying? It's all about being tough. We're not taught to be vulnerable, when something is wrong, vulnerability is looked at
Weakness.
as a sign of weakness. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Especially where I'm from, you can't, growing up, like, I would never imagine going up to somebody and talking to somebody about my issues and my depression and how I feel as a human being, forget the football player, the human being, So a lot of shit hit me, man, really fast, not just, friends, family, with money stuff, but, I just didn't have time. I didn't have time to process everything that was going on. I was kind of, trying to make everybody happy. I was neglecting my mental health. I wasn't really having, that time for myself. What I've learned to do throughout this journey. I wasn't there with my family all the time, my immediate family, or my wife and children, because I was too busy at practice or getting extra reps or watching film or doing foundation work. It's just a lot of stuff that I missed out on that I thought that I should have been doing and I wasn't, and I was just misguided, you know what I'm saying? And I don't blame nobody but myself, you know what I mean? First and foremost, I don't blame nobody but myself, So, I was smoking a lot, and that wasn't helping me at all. You know what I'm saying? Like I have nothing against, marijuana or whatever, but if you're messed up and you're in a state of mind where you can't really function and you got a lot of people pulling at you and you're uncomfortable and you don't trust nobody, the last thing you want to do is isolate and self-medicate.
Weed on,
Yeah.
I was basically, I didn't want to go to practice, bro. I wanted to be by myself. You know what I'm saying? I didn't trust nobody. I was in a very, very lonely space, man. And I'm very thankful for that experience, man, because it taught me so much.
As a recovering alcoholic, I'm over 4 years now. I can identify with the lonely place 100%. Like, cause I have a bunch of family that loves me. I have nieces that want me to be around, but really in my head, I was just thinking like, I'm the only person on this earth that cares about me. And for some reason I got that in my head and I couldn't get that out of my head. So I would just drink myself into oblivion every night. And it wasn't even a thing that I really set out to do. It just kept happening. And then finally I realized, okay, this is a freaking pattern. You need to break this pattern. But I applaud you for figuring that out about yourself. I think that's a big problem with people and their mental health, is that they're not in the right mindset as to why this is happening,
Right.
and how do I fix this? Like going to rehab for myself, I learned a lot of things about me that I needed to do to make sure that I'm cool and I don't lose my cool. But I appreciate that, because you put the work in, and we always say it in our groups, like you have to put the work in. If you don't put the work in, you're not going to get better, and you put the work in. So
that's real, man. That's a real statement. It's a process, man. And even now to this day, it's like, I do a lot of writing, whenever I'm, got stuff on my mind, I just write it down, and I've kind of became, this mad scientist, to myself, you know what I'm saying? And figuring myself out and who I am, the person, when we're playing ball or whatever career we're in, you're constantly being identified as this football player, as this doctor, as this lawyer, And when I retired, I had a tough time transitioning, from football to who am I, the person, and man, I'm telling you, it took me about 5 years, bro, 5 years to find myself, you know what I'm saying, and figure out who I am, not the football player, you know what I'm saying, me, the person, you know what I'm saying. So yeah.
Big Mac's got a question for you, but sorry, Mac, I got to jump in right when he's saying this. Who are you as a person? Because that to me is fascinating. You lose an identity. Who are you? You've had time to reflect. Who is Davone Bess as a person?
First of all, I'm a believer, man. I'm definitely a believer. I believe that there is a higher power, and something going on up in the sky, wherever is going on, there's a higher power that puts us through these situations for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we just walk around, and just bump our heads for no reason. You know what I'm saying? It's a higher purpose. You know what I'm saying? I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a brother. I'm a son. You know what I'm saying? And I lost all of that. Getting caught up in trying to be the best Davone Bess, the football player.
Yeah. Thank you,
man. That's beautiful, bro. Like straight up, it's no other way to put that, and that's beautiful. Because to be honest, like we can flip seats right now and be having the exact same conversation. Especially when it comes to your mental, when it comes to finding yourself outside of football, the whole way around. And the one question that I wanted to ask you especially was, how do you feel like Miami affected, you know what I'm saying, you and your mental state? Because I remember always saying to myself, like, thank God I came to San Diego, because San Diego is chill as hell. It ain't no strip clubs to go to. It ain't shit to get into, you know what I'm saying? Like I can just,
they're just not the same.
Yeah, man, I'm not. They are not strip clubs. I'm not even gonna claim them. All right, I'm not even gonna claim them. But and when I used to say stuff like that, I'd be like, man, if I'd ended up in a place like Miami, oh my God, like ain't no telling what would have happened. So like, do you think that had any effect on like just your mental state and like how much you had going on?
Absolutely, bro. And that's a great question, man, because I was that guy in the locker room, you can ask Greg this. I was that guy in the locker room who was cool with everybody from the janitor to the highest paid player on the team. You know what I'm saying? So always talking to the youngsters that's coming in, save your money, don't be out all night, get up early, work hard, don't take this for granted. You know what I'm saying? So I had just the way my mom, and my family raised me, I always had a good head on my shoulders. So as far as, when I first got to Miami, I want to say I was so focused and hungry and determined, to make the team and be relevant. That really didn't affect me too much. But as I, start making money, I start becoming more popular. I'm getting more requests to come out to the city, come to this club, come to this school, come here and show face and all of that. that definitely played a part of of me going into the tank and with my mental health as well. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like I'm like I'll be in the club sometimes and I just not be into it. I'm like, man, why am I here? You know, this ain't I ain't feeling this. This ain't really me. You know, this is how I'm feeling on the inside, but I'm trying to show this appearance like I need to be here because I'm who I am. You know what I'm saying? I play for the Dolphins. You know, it need to go with the look. You know what I'm saying? The look needs to go with the image and all of this. You know what I'm saying? So it definitely plays a toll on your mental health. If you're constantly going out, drinking, not taking care of yourself, because I've learned over these past 5 or 6 years, going through my mental health battle, you really have to first of all, I wrote some things down, so I'm gonna kind of just name them off real quick and not really
go for it.
Not really going into too much detail, but just kind of give y'all my playbook to how I've been battling my mental health. So
please.
The first thing I think that I did was take accountability. I looked myself in the mirror and said, man, look, something is wrong. I think that's the first step, realizing something is wrong, identifying the issue and then building from there, and then, like I said, vulnerability. When I told you guys earlier about, being vulnerable is a sign of, strength and courage, I really meant that, because like I said, in the city where I'm from, that's frowned upon, that's looked at, as a sign of weakness, and people pounce on the weak, you know what I'm saying? And you don't want to be in that category, you know what I'm saying? So another thing you gotta do is you gotta forgive yourself. You gotta forgive yourself. You gotta forgive the people around you who put you through bad situations, you know what I'm saying? Who made you upset, who did you wrong, all these different emotions that you're trying to channel. You got to forgive and let go, because that shit'll weigh you down. It'll weigh you down and keep you from the blessings that the man has for you in the future. And the next one will be to listen. I've learned to listen more. I had an uncle, growing up, and he would always say, why God, made you with one mouth and two ears, right? I'm like, I didn't know at the time, but it really hit me, through my mental health battle. And that's because we as human beings need to listen more than we talk. You learn, you don't know how many people are, going through these same mental health battles. You know what I'm saying? You can learn from others' stories, other experiences, other people's mistakes. And I've learned so much by just listening. You know what I'm saying? And the next one, everything, this is on one of my, when I was running my foundation, this is on one of my flyers. Everything in your life happens for a reason, and you got to really, truly believe that, everything happens for a reason. Trials and tribulations, everything you go to, it makes you strong. You sit back and reflect and think about, damn, man, why did that happen to me? But if it didn't happen to you, you wouldn't be the person you are today, and you wouldn't be able to inspire others to get through their battle and going forward, So, and I got a bunch of them, but the last thing I'm gonna leave y'all with is the mental. I think the really game changer for me is the meditation. We talk about, we hear about meditation and people, meditating all the time, but you don't take it serious. You're like, whatever. It's times, even now, it's times that I meditate, a few times a day just to, get my thoughts together. I'll sit on my floor in my office, I'll stretch out and just listen to, like water, raindrops and bells going off. That shit you hear when you get a massage, basically.
Yeah.
But it's so therapeutic though, man. You know what I'm saying? Because it just you right now I got kids, I got my wife, I got dog, I got, I got a lot going on in my household, you know what I mean? So just to get that little 10-15 minute time, to myself, just to meditate and and listen to that and get my thoughts together and stretch out and make my body feel good, it all makes you, it's good for your mental clarity. You know what I'm saying? So, and like this exercise.
Yeah. Man, that's why I love you, man.
Stress reliever, bro. Stress reliever. You know what I'm saying? Exercise. You ain't got to do much. You ain't got to lift the whole gym. You ain't got to lift the whole gym. You ain't got to be the strongest one out there, but shit, go walk. Go do something. Get out in nature. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, no, that's why I love you, man. The honesty, the reflection. I mean, your story alone is a great story, but your story plus the conclusion, like plus that reflection, that self-improvement, that's why I think it's so valuable. And part of Two Pros and a Joe, and Skraby is our resident Joe with one great sack in high school as a defensive lineman. But part of our journey in Two Pros and Joes is to get the pro perspective, but also get the Joe perspective. So Skraby, as a recovering alcoholic, what about those pillars that Davone just mentioned, like resonates with you? We got the pro perspective. Give us the Joe perspective. You can't be on mute when you're reflecting, though, unless you're meditating. Is that what it is?
You guys, no, I wasn't meditating. I have no idea what just happened. Maybe no one needs to hear what I'm about to say. So that was the microphone telling me to shut up.
Hear this. We need to hear this.
The one thing that you said that really stuck with me is the fact that you listen to people and you take their stories and you help yourself through their stories. Like one of the things that I do, I go to meetings just to listen to people and the different things that they've gone through, because when I'm having a shit day and I'm like, well, screw this, you suck, and just talking bad to myself, I go into these meetings and I hear these people who just lost their wife of 35 years and they just gave up 35 years of sobriety. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh, okay, I'm feeling okay. I'm good. I'm all right. Like, I don't want to end up like that guy. And it's no disrespect to that guy. That guy is also telling me his story for a reason as well. And so I really like to tell people my story as well. And it's just, I was in radio and there was a lot of pressure for me to continue to be a drunk guy on the radio. It was like, my bit was to go to bars and ask people trivia questions as a drunk. And so I came into this thinking, this is my first gig in radio. I'm so pumped for it. I have a segment now, but 2 years later, I'm like a mess and trying to hold it together. And I'm just drunk on a Tuesday night and wasted. I got to be at work at 6 a.m. It's not working for me. I struggled big time with considering stopping drinking because my identity was the drunk guy on the radio. And it was really hard I didn't know that I was going to have a place in radio when I stopped drinking. But in the end, I did have a place in radio, and I got much better in radio after I stopped drinking because I was able to start thinking clearly, and I wasn't so depressed all the time. And you were talking about how you used to go and isolate and smoke weed, and I used to do the same. I would go and I would drink a bottle of whiskey and then smoke weed and pass out. And my brother, I was living with him at the time, he would have to come home and find me on the couch with the bottle and the joint and all this other stuff. And it's super embarrassing. And it was his place, and he made me move out, and he kicked me out one night. And that was one of the best things that's ever happened to me, is him kicking me out, because you can't, it's like Josh Gordon. Let's talk about him for a second. Josh Gordon is a guy who's gotten multiple chances, and people ask me, oh, how can he get another chance? How can this guy not stop? He can't stop smoking weed. Like, it's just weed. To me, it's about the NFL continuing to give him chances, because this is like the 7th time. And if you're taught that you can keep doing the things that you're doing, and you're still going to get chances, you're never going to stop. You're never going to stop. So, I mean, that was a long-winded answer.
Man, no, we needed that Skraby, man. Let that shit out, man. Come on, man. That's what we here for, man. That's what we here for. Bro, I got a question. I got a question for Davone, but then at the same time, all you guys, do you guys, Davone, you first, do you guys think that there's a difference between the mental health issues between professional athletes and then, like you say, a Joe, a regular person on the street? Do you guys think that there's a difference between what we're going through and then what they're going through, or what we're all going through, to be honest? Because that's how I feel.
Right, for sure. That's a great question, bro. In my opinion, I believe the root of the issues are all the same. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, us being professional athletes, we got everything thrown at us or whatever. We making good money and all of that. It's probably what you call it. How I want to say this. It's probably on another level, from the average person. But at the same time, I can't say that because you just never know what the average person is going through, though. You know what I'm saying? Like he just said, somebody, just losing a wife for 35 years and, is a recovering alcoholic from 35 years. You can't equate, something to something like that, like when you're a professional athlete and you're going through issues. So I think the root of the issues are all the same, especially with the pandemic going on. People are forced to be in their house. They used to always being social and being out in the public. Now you in the house and you got to deal with your wife who you realize you don't really know that good. You know what I'm saying? And it's just weighing on everybody. But I think finding the root of the issue is the solution.
I think the effect is the same, but the problems are different, and that's not to weigh the effect being the weight on that individual is felt the same, but the problems are different. Like, you make $1 million playing football, obviously your problems are going to be different than somebody who just lost a minimum wage job who can't afford to pay rent. Right. But the effect, the struggle is the same. Those pillars that Davone mentioned: take accountability, be vulnerable, forgive yourself, listen, everything happens for a reason, in meditation, those can apply across the board to whatever you're going through. And that's why I want to know when the Davone Bess self-help book is coming out, man.
Man, come with it.
You're right. I know you got
bro. I got some stuff cooking, man.
There you go.
I'm just
mad scientist.
I'm just patient this time. You know what I'm saying? Everything comes in due time. And I learned that, when I was in the league and I was, doing my foundation work and I was, doing all these trips and going to Costa Rica doing community service work. I was just, I was just doing it, through the kindness of my heart and trying to get stuff done. But, a lot of people start to take advantage of, and I got a big heart, so I was taken advantage of, and I was running around like a chicken with my head cut off, you know what I'm saying? And didn't really understand why, but, I've grown, people are going to be who they are, so I've during this time I've really dedicated myself to practicing patience, man, and believing that in due time things will happen on its own organically. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. And I want to real quick, Greg went over your list again. And one of the other things popped out to me was everything happens for a reason. I say that to people all the time. Every time someone asks me for advice or anything like that, or something happened where, they lost out on a job or something like that. Everything truly does happen for a reason. And like when I first, I had to go to the hospital because I drank too much. And my parents took me to the hospital. I had like a 0.42. And I was, I said I was going to kill myself. So I was not 5150, but I was close to being 5150, which means that you're going to be put into psychiatric hold until they can determine that you're not going to do that. But right then and there, I believed everything was going to happen for a reason because I worked a job in the afternoon and the rehab that I was going to go to was in the afternoon. 2 days later, I walk into my boss's office. They're like, hey, we're moving you to mornings. And boom. Everything cleared up for me. Now I could do my job and I can go to my rehab. And that means everything happens for a reason to me.
Dude, that was a blessing, man.
It was. And to answer Marcus's question, I do think that I think that all the problems at the base level and all the mental health issues at a base level are the same because we're all human. We all have the same parts. But I honestly think it's harder for you guys. I really do, because you guys are on a bigger stage. Like I'm in radio. People follow me, people know who I am, and I'm nervous to screw up. So it's got to be hard for you guys knowing that you're on this pedestal and something super embarrassing can come out, or something, your worst moment can come out. And I really, really, really don't like when people pile on. Like today, when Tiger Woods crashed, I put up something saying like, no, I can't have this happen. And people are like, oh, was he drunk? Was he high? Let's wait a little bit. And I used to be that guy because I was drunk and high when I was making those comments. So It's like, let's be nice to each other. Let's be nice to each other first. Let's not go straight in for the kill. That's why I can't handle Twitter. I can't handle it.
Man, hey,
Yeah,
it's great. That is so great, bro. Because, like, to be honest, that's why I asked that question. This week, when I read what Greg wrote after Vincent Jackson
we got to talk about
passed
that real
away.
quick too.
Yeah, after I read that, right? I for some reason I started going through the comments, right, to kind of see people's back and forth. And at first I was pissed off, you know what I'm saying? Like, it had me ready to start going in and, like, you know, getting into Twitter beef, and, you know, like, I was about to go into the comments and start writing
It's
stuff.
not a
And
good
I was like,
idea.
you know what? It was kind of like what Davone said, like, sometimes you got to let it go and forgive people. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
You like, I yeah, exactly. So I couldn't let them have that. But it was just like, I really don't think that people have the type of empathy that they need when people are going through things, because we all are brothers and sisters and on the same earth going through the same things. But for you not to have empathy for somebody going through something, regardless of what it is, just kind of it rubbed me the wrong way.
For sure.
And then the second thing that I wanted to say was, I started to notice the similarities in what it's like to lose something, and not to lose money, not to lose the fame, but to lose like a brotherhood, right? Because then I started looking at, well, who really has these issues, right?
Yeah.
We do as athletes, definitely. But then I started looking into, like, well, dang, you know, a lot of my military homies, you know what I'm saying, and people that I know go through the same thing. And I started wondering to myself, does it have something to do with losing that many brothers at one time? Right? We're in a locker room with 53. We travel with 100 people.
Yeah.
You in the military, you traveling with hundreds of people.
Yeah.
You go through the day-to-day, y'all have the same common goals. You have so much stuff that you're going after together. And then when you're taken away from that, now, like Davone say, you got to learn who your wife is.
Yeah.
You got to learn who your kids are. You got to learn what this community is really doing that you're living in right now.
Yeah.
And it's tough for a lot of people, and not just athletes. You know what I'm saying? We all heard that famous line, more money, more problems. And that is true, right? Yeah. But just because I have more problems doesn't mean that my problems mean more than yours. Period. I don't care who you is. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I had to get that off my chest, because I ain't gonna lie, Greg, I was about to jump on some phone for you. Wow,
hey, man, you have my back, man.
You know, my boy now, you know what I'm saying?
Twitter beef.
Real, bro.
Big Mac.
Facts, man.
Big Mac, you have my back, man. I appreciate that. And we can talk about this on a future podcast. Tomorrow, I'm joining a group called MVP, Merging Vets and Players, founded by Jay Glazer and Green Beret, former Green Beret and Seattle Seahawk Nate Boyer. Do a 30-minute workout, former professional athletes and vets, and then there's a huddle, a discussion, and just letting men be vulnerable. I'm doing that tomorrow, and I can't wait to share the experience with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And everything that you guys all said today, I'm really happy we had this conversation. I think that we need to have these conversations more. We're in a world now where this is accepted to a lot of people. And you know what? I don't give a shit if you're going to make fun of me, if you're going to do whatever, if you're going to think you're a bigger man than me, I don't give a shit. You can think that.
Big Mac will handle your Twitter.
Marcus is going to get in there for me. And I'm going to be like, hey, I got my 6'8" friend over here who wants to say hello.
Yeah, I can't get into be no internet gangster. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know what? I gotta brush this off, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Y'all taking me out my element. Right. Yeah.
Well, we could go and do this for another 17 hours. I swear. I could sit here and talk to you.
Bro, he got to come back. Davone.
Yeah, you got to come back.
I don't care what you say, man. You got to come on back, bro.
Time, man.
Yeah, the real quick last thing I wanted to bring up was Vincent Jackson, as Marcus just said, that was a very sad and unfortunate event, and it was linked to alcoholism. People are saying it from the reports I'm reading. So it's just another reminder for everyone out there that you have to be aware of what's going on with your friends. You have to be aware of what's going on with your family. You have to be aware, because I know that I locked myself into a lot of rooms so that nobody knew what I was doing in that room. And that room was drinking. And there was a point in time where, you know what, I could have probably not woken up a few times and no one would have known. And it's a very lonely place. And I feel for his family, and I feel for his friends, and I feel for everyone involved in that whole thing. So hopefully what people can take from this whole podcast is that everybody has the same problems. Everybody is feeling down. Everybody is just working through their own things, and be nice to people.
That's right. That's right. That's a good point, man. Great point, man.
I just threw my pen away.
Davone,
I can't
man.
find it.
Love you, respect you, appreciate you. Two Pros and a Joe. Skraby, bring us home with the details.
Two Pros and a Joe. Make sure you follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're also everywhere else where you can get your podcast. Just type in the number 2 Pros and a Joe. Davone, where can they find you on the internet?
Right now I just have Twitter and Instagram. So Davone Bess 15, man. That's it.
Yeah, we if you're following our Two Pros and a Joe Instagram, I Insta storied out the post that Greg referenced in the beginning of the show. So if you're curious as to what it is, you can go to Davone's Instagram, or you can go to Two Pros and a Joe and do that. But thank you so much for being here. Like Marcus and Greg said, we're gonna have you back. This was an awesome conversation. I loved it, and I know the other guys did too, because they just sat there listening, which is good for those guys.
We could have stayed here 2 hours.
No,
I ain't gonna lie to you, man. We were out there, bro.
All right. For Matt Skraby, for Greg Camarillo, for Marcus McNeil, and for Davone Bess, this is Two Pros and a Joe. See you guys next time.